Hey guys, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And if this is your first time here, I want to thank you for checking out my channel, and if you're a regular, welcome back. This is a movie channel, so everything I do here is movie related. I do reviews, top 10 lists, collection updates, and videos like this one that I upload every Wednesday called Weekend Watch. This is the segment where I give you guys a few choices for Blu-rays and rentals to watch at home, as well as a few picks for those of you who want to head out and see a movie in the theater. So if this is the kind of content you're interested in, definitely hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll know when I upload my videos. And before I get going with my picks for this week, I just want to let you guys know that the new release slump that we have been in for what feels like forever, it's been at least a month, seems to be coming to an end. I have one brand new title from this week, I have one that's within the last few weeks, and then I grabbed two from my collection. And I looked at my schedule of what I have coming in over the coming weeks, the next few weeks, and it looks like we have some pretty good things coming in. So hopefully I have an optimistic outlook for the future, and it looks like we're going to have some great new content coming in. So I'm going to get going with my picks of the week, and this first one was actually introduced to me when I was watching my friend Jay's channel over on Absolute Sublime 1. That's the name of his channel, and I'm going to link it down in the description because Jay has been on YouTube for a long time, and he is very knowledgeable about film. He's got a great collection. He does great videos, and especially if you're a fan of horror, he has some awesome obscure horror titles. He does the mainstream stuff too, but he's got some really cool, more obscure titles, and he really is a treasure trove of knowledge when it comes to films. And I think you're really going to like him, and he has been such a great supporter and a great friend to me and this channel, and I really appreciate everything he's done to help my channel get off the ground. And I know a lot of you guys migrated over from there, but if you're not familiar with him, definitely check him out, say hello, give him a sub, tell him I said hi, and that I'm eating way too much enlightened ice cream because of his last ice cream review. He does fun movie snack reviews. You'll like him. Anyway, the first movie is called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, and it stars Olivia Cooke, who you probably remember from the movie Thoroughbreds. Anyway, we have our main character, Greg, who is a high school senior who really doesn't want to be noticed by anyone. He kind of says that he wants to remain invisible. He wants to see the people, he wants people to know him, but he doesn't want them to know him too much. He just kind of wants to fly under the radar, do what he needs to do, and get out of high school unscathed. He doesn't want trouble with anybody, but he doesn't want to get too close to anybody. And he is approached by his mother, who is a very meddling mom, and she tells him that his classmate Rachel, Olivia Cooke's character, has been diagnosed with leukemia, and she wants him to go and spend time with her. And he doesn't want to do it. He says, Mom, you know, we're acquaintances. I don't even know the girl, and you want me to go and just show up and hang out with her. She tells him he's going to do it. He doesn't want to do it. You know how it goes. He does it. He shows up at her house. And she says, you know, I know you're only... She has this really cool, snarky attitude, which you're going to like. She plays a great character. And she says, you know, I know you're only here because I'm sick. And he says, no, I'm not here because you're sick. I'm here because my mom made me come here. Which she tells him is even worse. Because, yeah, it is even worse. I'm here because my mom made me come. So, anyway... She agreed. He just begs her. He's like, please, I can't go home and tell my mom I didn't hang out with you, so please just let me hang out with you. And she agrees, and they're off to this rocky start of this, as they call it in the movie, the doomed friendship. And ultimately, as time goes on, they do continue to spend time together, and they really form a genuine bond, and they genuinely start to care about each other. And Rachel is trying to get Greg to kind of break out of his shell and be more ambitious about his future and kind of let people in, and little by little you realize that she's getting in, and she is really forming a genuine bond with him, even though he doesn't realize that it's happening. And he in turn is supporting her through a very difficult time in her life because she's going through treatment for this terrible illness that she has. And they really do have a great friendship, and what started off as something really rocky and unconventional really turns into genuine caring and support for one another. And another neat thing that goes on in this movie is that Greg does have a best friend, and his name is Earl, and he and Earl have been friends since they were kids. And one of the things they share is their love of classic movies. like the movies we see in the Criterion Collection that we've been talking so much about. And their hobby is to take these classic movies, redo them, have their own storyline, and then retitle them. So you know what the classic movie is, but it's their own spin on it. And it's really, really neat the way they do it in the movie. And they show little snippets of it, and they show their collection lined up with the spine so you can see all the titles. And I've never seen anything done like that in a movie, so I really enjoyed that. And as a movie enthusiast, you're really going to like that. And Greg starts to share some of his movies with Rachel, and she sees how talented he is, and you know, they really start, he shares personal things about himself that he wouldn't share with other people, and he's starting to realize what it is to truly connect with another person. And ultimately, I don't want to get into too much of this story because I really think this is one of those that you have to experience on your own, and you're going to get much more out of it if you just experience the whole thing from beginning to end on your own. But this is really a really touching story about friendship, personal growth, and really unconditional support and caring for another person. And it does it so well. It's funny, it's sad in parts, but it's always heartfelt. And I can tell you that, yeah, some of it's tough, but ultimately when the movie was over, I felt good about it. And I think there's high rewatchability in it. It's so enjoyable. You're definitely going to revisit it. If you've seen this before, I would suggest giving it another look. If you haven't seen it, I say it's a really safe blind buy. I'm going to link it in the description so you can check it out if you want to. But yeah, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, it's such a good movie, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. I know I did, so, and I can definitely see myself watching it again. And the second one is, this one came out like, I think 2 weeks ago. I just recently watched it. It's called Chappaquiddick. And this is it stars Jason Clarke, Kate Mara, Ed Helms, and Bruce Dern. And this is the story based on the true facts of the 1969 car accident involving Ted Kennedy and Mary Jo Kopechne, which ended up ending her life. And Ted Kennedy was drinking at a party, and he drove a car off of a bridge in Chappaquiddick, and he got out, and she drowned. And this is the story. It shows the events of that evening and what led up to it, what happened, and how he ultimately handled it. And I have to tell you that this movie left me feeling really conflicted. I enjoyed it. It was a very well done movie. All the performances were strong. The pace that it moved at was really good. But it really, I don't know, it really left me feeling conflicted because they do show parts, and Joe Kennedy, the father, the patriarch of the family, was notoriously very tough man. And Joe Kennedy was nearing the end of his life when this happened, and he was in a wheelchair. He could hardly speak. And there were scenes where he was just so cruel to Ted Kennedy, even in that frail of a state. And Ted just wanted to please him. And he was so cruel, and it made you feel for Ted Kennedy. But then, on the other hand, you're watching how he handled a situation that killed another person, and I just sat there shaking my head saying, you know, what was he thinking? 9 hours it took him to even report the crime. And when you see how the car was hardly submerged, and it was submerged, but you could have gotten to the car had he called emergency services, but he didn't. And you have to wonder, like, what was he thinking? I mean, I know they were drinking and whatnot, but I don't know. It just seems like he did everything wrong, and he still managed to come out okay. And that kind of leaves you scratching your head, wondering, like, what the heck happened? Anyway, I really enjoyed, in particular, the performance of Ed Helms, because we're so used to seeing him as the funny sidekick and the funny guy, and he plays the family lawyer and cousin, Joe. And this is a really straight role for him, and I really, really enjoyed him in this kind of a role because it was very different for him, and he really did a great job. But the performances all around are great, and if you enjoy anything about the Kennedys and American history, I definitely say this is a movie that everybody should take a look at. And it was well done. It was easy to watch. It wasn't that long, and I was never bored, and I really got a lot out of it. I learned a lot of things about the situation that I didn't know before. So yeah, I would definitely say check out Chappaquiddick. And I'll link this in the description as well. You can rent it, I'm sure, at this point. But if you want to buy it, I'll put the link in the description. But Chappaquiddick, it's a good one. It surprised me. And this next one is from 1997, and it's one of my personal favorites. It's called Kundun, and it's a movie by Martin Scorsese, so you know it's going to be great. And this is the story of the 14th Dalai Lama. Now, let me preface this by saying, whether you're interested in Buddhism or not, it doesn't matter. You can still follow this movie. And in the Buddhist religion, what they believe, or the Buddhist practice, what they believe is that the Dalai Lama is constantly reincarnated. So every time one passes, they believe he's reincarnated in another body. So after the 13th Dalai Lama dies, they go out searching for the 14th Dalai Lama, and they find this young boy in a remote village who answers their questions and picks out different objects that prove to them that he is the 14th Dalai Lama, who, by the way, is the current Dalai Lama. The 14th Dalai Lama is the Dalai Lama that we know today. And they take him back, and they take him to Tibet, and they take him to the monasteries, and they bring his family. And the first half of the movie really deals with his teachings, his upbringings, how he learned what he needed to learn to be the leader of Tibet. And it was a really interesting look at how things work with the Tibetan rituals and the history, and how they passed the history down, and how they taught him everything he needed to know about being the leader, the spiritual leader of the Tibetan people. And it's a beautifully shot movie. The cinematography is amazing, and it is a very moving, heartfelt story, and it's a very genuine feeling story. And then what we see in the second half of the movie is how we ended up where we are today with the Tibetan situation, because China was on a mission to acquire Tibet as its own. They wanted to take over Tibet and make Tibet part of China. And this was a very difficult thing for the Tibetan people, because that's a small little country and China's huge. So for them to be able to come in and just take over Tibet was really easy. But they show you why the Dalai Lama had to go into exile, where he remains today. He's still in exile in Nepal. And he had to leave in the middle of the night because he really was in danger of being killed by the Chinese government. So yeah, this was a really amazing watch, and it's a really amazing look at Tibetan history. And like I said, whether you're into Buddhism or not, you're really going to enjoy this. This is an excellent, excellent movie. And the reason I have the DVD is because up until today, the only Blu-rays I saw online were going for like $80 or $90. I'm not really sure why they were so expensive, but they weren't in mainstream printing. I was able to find a third-party seller who sold one to me for $26, and I think they have a few copies left. So I'm going to link the Blu-ray in the description. I'll also link the DVD, and I believe you can watch this on Amazon Prime for free. And if you can, I'm definitely going to link that for you too. But like I said, whether you're into Buddhism or not, just to see the history of Tibet is definitely a win. And this is rated PG-13, so it's pretty suitable for everyone, and I think that, you know, you're really going to enjoy it. So yeah, definitely check out Kundun. It's a good one. And my last one is still one of my favorite movies for 2018, and I did a full review on this, which I'm going to link right up here so you can see my full, like, 15-minute review on this movie, so I don't have to babble on too much. It's Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs. And I really, really enjoyed this movie. And if you don't know, brief synopsis: the ruling mayoral family of this fictitious town in Japan decides that all dogs, because of different snout fever and dog flu, have to be sent to this place called Trash Island. They're exiled. And then a young boy named Atari, who is part of the mayoral family, flies over to Trash Island to find his dog, Scouts. And we follow the pack of dogs who decide to help him on his journey. So that's the gist of the movie. But this is a typical Wes Anderson movie. It's quirky. It's so layered. There are so many layers in this film. And if you like Wes Anderson, you're going to love this film. What I found is people who aren't really crazy about Wes Anderson didn't really connect with this film as much as maybe I did, because I love Wes Anderson. So if you're not really a fan of Wes Anderson, do your homework before you invest in buying this. But Yeah, this is definitely a good one. Watch my review, watch the trailers, but if you're a fan, definitely check out Isle of Dogs. It is such a good one. I can't wait to watch it again because this is one of those ones that I really believe there are so many layers and there are so many underlying stories going on than just what this surface appears, that the rewatchability on this one is so high, because I think every time we watch it we're going to get something new out of the story, because it's really that layered. But yeah, Isle of Dogs, I really enjoyed this one, and hopefully you will too. So those are my picks for home for the week, and what we have coming out in the theater this week is the first one is we have the second Mamma Mia is coming out, and I know the first one was a big hit. So if you're a fan of the first Mamma Mia, I would definitely say check out the trailer for the second Mamma Mia. And, you know, if that's your thing, you're definitely going to like it. I mean, I wasn't too crazy about the first one, but it just wasn't my thing. But it wasn't a bad movie. It was a beautifully shot movie. I just really didn't connect with the story, but, you know, a lot of people did. So if you did, definitely check out the second one. And then we actually have Equalizer 2 coming out. And that looks to be great. I really enjoyed the first Equalizer, so this one looks like it's going to be a great one too. And I think this is the first time Denzel Washington has ever done a sequel. I can't think of any other sequels that he's done. If you know of a sequel that Denzel Washington has done, let me know down in the comments, because I'd be curious. I couldn't think of one. I was racking my brains all day, but Equalizer 2 looks like it's going to be really good, and like I said, if he doesn't do sequels, if he's doing a sequel on this one, it must be a solid one. So hopefully that's going to be great. So those would be my two picks for the theater. And hopefully between the home pile and the theater pile, you guys found something that you like. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed doing it for you. I want to thank you as always for watching. I always appreciate when you guys take time out of your day to watch my videos. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment, share, whatever you want to do with it. I appreciate anything. And I am going to upload again real soon. We're still moving on with the Criterion stuff, so I'm going to have some more of that for you probably over the weekend. But until then, that's a wrap.